Hello everybody, it's me Laura again, and today I'd like to welcome you to a soft-spoken video game collection and favourites video for you. Before I begin, I would like to apologise for any harsh wind sounds, neighbours, or the rain. I know some people don't mind, but I thought I'd just let you know as a little warning. So I said that I do a video game collection video, and here we are. So I'm going to show you all the games I've played and games I intend to play that I've not got around to yet. Okay, so I figured I'd start with my favourite. This game is Final Fantasy X with Final Fantasy X-2. This is the European edition for the PlayStation 3. However, this has been released on the PlayStation 2, and I think someone said it had connections to the Vita, but I don't know. And this will shortly be released on the PlayStation 4. If you're interested in picking this up and never have before, they are releasing a calendar to go with the limited edition version for the PlayStation 4. So there's that. So 10-2 picks up where 10 ends. In Final Fantasy X-2, you follow Yuna, Riku and Pain on their journey around Spirit. For me, I love these games. I just beat the game on PlayStation 3 very recently. It's definitely a childhood favourite of mine, because it was the first game that made me emotionally attached to a character and characters, and I actually think the edited soundtrack that they made for the new version is actually just as good, if not better, for me. The Seymour battle theme is definitely better in my opinion. If you listen to them back to back, you see what I mean. Yeah, this is a RPG, and once I get next gen console, or current gen console shall we say, I intend to get Final Fantasy 15 because that is looking really good. I also intend to get Dragon Quest Heroes. If you like this game, I really think you'll like Dragon Quest Journey of the Cursed King. That's an RPG as well, and it's cutesy but challenging. Now, I never actually showed the art book in my close-up whisper video, so I will. I'm actually really jealous of the Americans. I believe they got a soundtrack instead. Yeah, this follows the traditional sort of watercolour print effect. That's a great sound. Just the art is stunning. And, one of the main reasons I like Final Fantasy X is that they have Aeons, and Aeons are like super powerful beings who help you throughout the game. And if anyone knows these suckers, you'll know how annoying they are if you don't have the correct armour or ribbon. But I do love 10 and 10 too. It's not like any other game I've ever played. Very stunning. I do feel like Final Fantasy X-2 is a little cruel in some senses. I don't really want to explain why, but if you've played it, I think you'll understand what I mean. But I do talk about this game an awful lot. In terms of my favourite Aeon, I would say Anima, because she's strong and ferocious and a little bit OP. Okay, so that's the first game I have to show. Now the next game, I haven't actually played in about 2 years now, is Soul Calibur 5. I played the games on PlayStation 2 and quickly pursued them onto PlayStation 3. This was the one I was heavily remained with. And I like fighting games, which this is, by the way, but I've given a few fighting games a go. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom. I played them and they're okay, but I tend to pick up the fighting style of this one a little bit quicker. I don't know if she's still called it anymore, but Natsu is my favourite. She has like a ninja style. I like Ivy too. I think she has the most visually cool fighting style, but I'm not really good with it. But I beat this game a couple of years ago. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I think I'd like to get back into it again. One thing I like is the character creation. It's really interesting. Yeah, if you're interested in a pretty simple fighting style game that isn't very daunting, you can get this. It's really cheap at the moment. It's been out a long time. Okay, so there's that one. So next game I have in my collection is Devil May Cry, the HD collection. And I never show my top posters, but over there on that wall, I have a Devil May Cry 4 poster, which you may have seen up there in some previous videos. But they've been moved around, and I might show them in another video. Yeah, Devil May Cry is a great series. I got into this because of my brothers. And, I've played 2, which was very disappointing. Devil May Cry 2 is the worst in my opinion. A lot of people like Devil May Cry 3 the best, but I like Devil May Cry 1 the best. Prefer the story. I was actually put off from playing it when I was younger because there's this enemy in it called Shadows, I think, and they're like these black and purple lion things, and they're scary when you're young because they have very quick attacks and reactions. But the soundtrack to this game is amazing, especially the boss battles. So, on the HD collection, I've played 1. I have not played 3 yet. I was in the middle of doing the secret rooms on number 1, but very quickly gave up with them because they expect you to go right back to the beginning of some levels to do them, and didn't really have the patience. So there's that game. Next game I have to show you doesn't have a slip cover, unfortunately, but inside it is Resident Evil Revelations, the first of 2, and I love this game. It exceeds number 5 and it exceeds number 6 in the Resident Evil series in terms of game quality. For me, I don't particularly enjoy. Basically, it's a run to this place and run back, run to this place and run back kind of game, which some of the Resident Evils were like, but they've generally gone more in a keep going sort of direction. For me, this is a very impressive game. The new monsters are really interesting. You tend to see the typical infected and zombies, but this one tends to have a little bit of a more unique approach to creatures, and they're actually really scary on hard mode. The only thing I found disappointing about this is that there is no offline or online co-op for the arcade mode or story mode. It was the first game I 100% beat with all the trophies. It's that kind of game where it's not too hard to get all the trophies for it if you're a trophy hunter, which I'm not necessarily, but I figure if they're easy you might as well get them. This is really fun to play, especially raid mode. Raid mode probably takes a lot longer to finish properly than story mode. But it's that kind of game where you feel pretty comfortable playing it again and again, because the story's pretty simple but really interesting. Plus it has Jill, who is my favourite out of the Resident Evil series. Okay. So yeah, this is a really fun game. In my opinion, it really has pushed Resident Evil in the right direction. Just good. And I really look forward to playing Resident Evil Revelations 2. Okay, so the next game I have to show you is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. I feel like Metal Gear Rising would have been a fine enough title, but that's just me being picky. So, this game follows Raiden, rather than Snake or Boss. And this is completely different in almost every single way from the usual Metal Gear Solid series. For me, I prefer it in its fighting style. I tend to run out of patience when it comes to stealth games. They're very impressive, and the Metal Gear Solid series will always be amazing in terms of its depth of character, story, and graphics. But this is the kind of game where it's very much hack and slash. It almost encourages you not to be stealthy, but just go out there and enjoy yourself. When you put the difficulty up, however, you do need to be a lot more restrained in terms of your approach to beating the enemies. This probably has my favourite soundtrack of all time. Or at least equal with Final Fantasy X. I got the soundtrack after I beat the game. It's really interesting. It's really easy to get into really quick. You don't really need any specific, skill, I guess, to approach it. The controls are really simple, and it's just a fun sub-branch of Metal Gear Solid. It does follow the same story generally, but it's just a really cool game. I know loads of people hate it, understandably so. I can see why. I mean, it's not a Metal Gear Solid game though, is it? But if they release another one, I will play it, because that was one of the funnest games I've ever played, and I recommend it for a few hours of fun. And definitely a hack and slash game. Okay, so there's that game. So the next game I thought I'd show you is Ninokuni, Wrath of the White Witch. This game is beautiful. It's really, really cheap at the moment. And if you like RPGs, or in this case JRPG, Japanese role-playing game, I highly recommend giving it a go. It's super cheap, and you get at least 80 hours of fun out of it. That's if you include like side missions and stuff. But it is so fun, and it's very light-hearted, and I think they teamed up with Studio Ghibli to do some of the graphics. I could be completely wrong, but even if they didn't, it at least follows the sort of same style as the films. See? And it's a very family-friendly game, in my opinion. It's heartbreaking, tear-jerking, and heartwarming. It's that type of game. It doesn't follow a typical story, in my opinion. The plot twists all the time. The soundtrack is amazing. And basically you follow a young boy called Oliver, and you see him age, progress, learn spells, make friends, and it's just a really beautiful, warm game. It's that kind of game where you think you would never take it seriously, but there's lots of points where you should. Yeah. Definitely a game that's easy to get into, and I recommend it personally for those that enjoy light-hearted games, which I think we don't see enough of with PlayStation. So that's Ninokuni. So the next game I thought I'd show you is The Last of Us. This game's amazing. I love it from beginning to end. Some people hate the ending, some people love it. I personally really like it. It's like a movie in a game. It progresses with ease. And because it's like a film, it's very immersive. But very, very enjoyable. It's sort of survival horror, and it should never, in my eyes, be seen as a typical horror game. It is so soulful and beautiful. Seeing the relationship develop between the characters, seeing how they struggle, and seeing how they bond is great. In terms of gameplay, I really like it. The controls are really simple, and I believe they've released a remastered version. Now, my only distaste with this game is the online mode, but that's just because I'm awful at it. I'm gonna just admit that I'm terrible. It's like the Batman online for the most recent one. I'm terrible at that too. It's the type of game where you have to work in a team most of the time, and apparently I'm not good at that. But the online doesn't let it down at all in terms of what the main game represents. Also, I don't know if the remastered version comes with the DLC. However, if it doesn't, I would say don't bother getting the DLC unless you really care about the story. It's like only a couple of hours of gameplay. I'm talking about Left Behind here. There may be other DLC. But I bought that and I didn't feel I was getting the same quality for the amount I paid. But minus online and minus the DLC. It's a good game. It's a really, really good game. Really unique in how it has approached gameplay. And it is from the creators of Uncharted, which is a game I haven't played. But considering this game is so good in my eyes, I might pursue Uncharted. So I think I'm going to finish off with one more game for you. Maybe two. We'll see. This one is Resident Evil 6. I'm going to try not to be too cruel. I'm a big Resident Evil fan. Admittedly, I like 5. I really do. I used to play the multiplayer of that every single day for about almost 2 years. But this game, it's not as great in my opinion. There's just too many stories going on. For those of you that haven't played Resident Evil 6, it's got a pretty long story because Leon's story, then Chris's, then Jake's, then Ada's, and I feel like they could easily all have a game to themselves. I think a Resident Evil following Ada would be really interesting. Who's considered good guy, considered bad guy to some. I really like her, she's cool. But it joins so many characters in one game that it just feels a bit messy. What I do like is being able to shoot and walking and running actually, which is something they didn't do for most of the Resident Evil games. And I like that you can roll and jump backwards. But for me, the bosses aren't that great. The fighting styles for some of the characters isn't that great too. I just feel like there was too many characters put in one game. I also found the last boss to be very disappointing. The game introduces new characters, which is sort of interesting, but it's pretty good as an action game, more so than a horror game. But I do like that it follows different countries. I believe this one focuses on China, and it's diverse in its backgrounds and the atmosphere. It's pretty interesting, but it's just an okay game. It's not my favourite from Resident Evil. I think I'd have to say 2 is my favourite. So I hope that Resident Evil 7 follows the same pattern in its most basic form of Resident Evil Revelations, for me personally. But yeah, if you don't take it pretty seriously, then this game's pretty fun. I gotta give it that. Yeah, there you go. I actually decided not to finish off with a bit of a bad remark. I instead decided to briefly finish off with The Sims 3. I love the Sims games, they're great. This one's really fun. A game you should never take seriously. I've seen gameplay of 4 and it looks awful. But this one is really fun. And I know that I should realistically get this on PC because you get a variety of DLC. But generally this is a really fun set of games. I think most people have played a Sims game. It's really fun. I don't really have to tell you much about it. You make your own little house with your own people and you watch them develop. You can have kids, get married, be mean, be nice. Yeah, it's nice, fun little game. Okay. So, those are not all the games I had to show you, but those are the ones I really wanted to talk about today. So, as I get more games in the future, I will do more videos like this, if you like them, of course. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.